Are you over 40 and suddenly missing easy clay targets? Do you think age is the reason? Or could you be making one costly mistake? According to multiple-time world champion George Digweed, it's not getting older that hurts your shooting. It's changing the wrong habits. In this video, you'll discover why shooting faster makes you miss, why looking back at your gun destroys accuracy, how to adapt to your body instead of fighting it, and why confidence comes from repetition, not guessing. Stay until the end, because one simple change could transform your scores. 1. The biggest myth. I'm missing because I'm getting older. One of the biggest myths in clay shooting is believing that turning 40 automatically makes you a worse shooter. But is age really the problem? Or is something else quietly ruining your consistency? Before you blame your birthday, keep watching, because this could completely change the way you think about your shooting. Yes, your body changes over time. Your reactions may slow slightly, and your flexibility might not be what it was 20 years ago. But those small physical changes don't suddenly make you miss easy targets. George Digweed has proven this throughout his career by competing successfully against much younger shooters for decades. His success shows that great shooting depends far more on consistency, visual discipline, and solid technique than on raw speed or youth. The real issue is that many shooters over 40 start changing things that never needed changing. Instead of trusting the skills they've developed over years of practice, they begin chasing quick fixes. They alter their gun mount, change their lead from target to target, glance back at the barrel for reassurance, or rush difficult presentations in an effort to react faster. None of those changes improve performance. They only create inconsistency. The shooters who continue breaking targets well into their 50s, 60s, and beyond are usually the ones who trust the fundamentals, keep their technique simple, and refuse to abandon what has already proven to work. 2. The real mistake. Looking back at the gun. What if I told you that the one thing you're checking to improve your shot is actually the reason you're missing? If you're over 40, this next point could completely change the way you shoot, so make sure you keep watching. One of the biggest habits George Digweed has warned against throughout his career is looking back at the gun instead of staying locked onto the target. It often starts when confidence begins to fade. After a few missed clays, many shooters instinctively glance at the barrel to make sure everything looks right. It feels harmless, even logical, but in reality, it's one of the fastest ways to destroy accuracy. The moment your eyes leave the clay, your brain loses the visual information it needs to judge the target's speed, angle, and distance. Your hands may continue moving the gun, but they are no longer guided by the most important source of information, your eyes. That's why top shooters never need to check the barrel during the shot. They trust their mount, trust their gun fit, and allow the shotgun to remain only in their peripheral vision while maintaining complete focus on the target. Ironically, the harder you try to confirm everything is perfect, the more likely you are to miss. And in the next section, you'll discover another mistake many shooters over 40 make that quietly costs them even more targets. 3. George Digweed's advice. Stop trying to shoot faster. Have you ever noticed that the harder you try to shoot quickly, the more targets you seem to miss? If that's happening to you, make sure you watch the rest of this video, because the next tip could completely change the way you approach every shot. One of the biggest mistakes shooters over 40 make is believing they must react faster to stay competitive. That mindset creates unnecessary tension. Instead of moving naturally, they force the gun, rush the swing, and panic the moment the target appears, instead of reading its line calmly. George Digweed has built his legendary career on the opposite approach. His shooting has always looked smooth, relaxed, and controlled, not rushed. Every movement has a purpose, and nothing is wasted. That's because efficient movement beats frantic movement every single time. When shooters try to speed everything up, the gun often moves before the eyes have fully locked onto the target. The swing becomes jerky, the muzzle races ahead, and timing disappears. Ironically, slowing down often leads to cleaner breaks because your eyes guide your hands naturally. Remember, your goal isn't to be the fastest shooter on the range. It's to be the most consistent. Smooth beats fast, controlled beats rushed, and that's a lesson many shooters only truly appreciate after years of experience. 4. Stop fighting your body. Adapt instead. Here's something that surprises many shooters over 40. The problem often isn't your body. It's expecting your body to move exactly like it did 20 years ago. What if a few simple adjustments could help you break more targets without moving faster or working harder? That's exactly what many experienced shooters discover. So make sure you stay with me, because the next point could completely change how you approach every shot. Maybe your neck doesn't rotate as far as it once did. Maybe your shoulders feel tighter after a long day on the range, or your stance isn't quite as flexible as it used to be. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a normal part of experience. Instead of fighting those changes, adapt to them. George Digweed has always emphasized getting into an efficient position before calling for the target. A better foot position, a smarter hold point, and a more comfortable ready position can reduce unnecessary movement and make even challenging targets feel easier. Rather than forcing your body to do more, set yourself up so it has to do less. Smart preparation always beats unnecessary effort, which is why many experienced shooters continue outperforming younger competitors through efficiency, consistency, and good technique, instead of relying on athletic ability alone. 5. Confidence comes from repetition, not guessing. Many shooters over 40 start second-guessing every miss. One bad target, and suddenly they begin asking themselves, should I change my choke? Should I use different cartridges? Should I hold higher? Should I swing faster? While these questions may seem reasonable, constantly changing your equipment or technique often creates more problems than it solves. Every unnecessary adjustment makes it harder to develop consistency, and consistency is what breaks targets, not constant experimentation. George Digweed's long career is a perfect example of confidence built through repetition, not guesswork. Rather than reinventing his technique after every miss, he trusts the fundamentals that have proven successful over thousands of shots. He studies patterns, practices with purpose, and focuses on correcting the real cause of a mistake instead of reacting emotionally to a single missed target. That's an important lesson for every shooter, especially those over 40. The best shooters understand that one miss doesn't mean everything is wrong. They stay patient, remain consistent, and trust the process they've built through disciplined practice. Real confidence isn't something that appears overnight or comes from buying new gear. It comes from repeating the correct habits so many times that they become automatic. When your fundamentals are reliable, your confidence becomes reliable too, and that's when consistent scores begin to follow. If you're over 40, don't let age become an excuse. The biggest obstacle isn't getting older. It's drifting away from the fundamentals that made you a better shooter in the first place. As George Digweed's approach demonstrates, smooth movement, complete target focus, efficient setup, and trust in your technique will always outperform panic, rushing, and constant changes. Fix that one mistake, and you may discover your best shooting is still ahead of you. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to Shotgun IQ, and let me know in the comments, what's the biggest shooting habit you've had to break after 40?